Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video. Today we are going to do an updated Force Echo character guide on Quistis. If you are not familiar with Quistis, she is known as the Queen of Delays. All of her buttons pretty much will delay the enemies. She is very unique in that she has very hefty delays of like 3 turns. And she has an effect that makes it so her delays essentially cannot be negated. So bosses with frame turns cannot stop her delay. So she can force the delay agenda. Even if the bosses are trying to negate it, which is very good. So in this character guide, we are going to go ahead and look at her calls, her artifacts, and her spheres. We'll do a little showcase, see what her damage is looking like. The one thing I will say is I did not get the BT, so this is going to be an FR only showcase, but we will definitely talk about the BT and what it does as we go through the showcase. I think her BT isn't needed, but it's important if you want to use her FR to drive the FR. But I think she's an FR that I would just use as an echo. I don't think I would use her as the main FR unless you've got the BT, right? So her calls are decent in that they're just like delay calls, right? The calls are also going to put a debuff on called Fading Light, which is just going to be like an attack max breakdown. Nothing too crazy. The 15 call is just going to do a 3-turn delay. So it is a really hefty delay on a single target. And then the LD call is going to be an AoE delay of 1 turn, and then it's going to do a party attack, max brave damage, and brave gains up. So it's solid. The only thing with her call is like they're just like little 1-turn delays, and I can't think of like how often that I just want to get like 1 delay in a fight, right? That I would rather use a different call where I'm going to get a buff that lasts a long time or something that's going to keep me safe. But her call was notable like in the past. Like when there were like Lufenia orbs and you needed to like do a delay to keep the orb up to maybe get into a BT phase, something like that. But in Shinryu era, I don't know when, like I'm just going to need like 1 or 2 delay buttons. Like if you need delay, you're going to want her like in the party probably. But yeah, her call definitely could have some use there, but it's not one that I really use very often. So if you're going to go for Quistis, you probably want her in the party as like a 3rd slot utility character is the way I would use her. I see her as like a support utility character. She's going to do a lot of brave gaining and then a lot of delaying. That's really like what her role is, right? So let's go ahead and look at her artifacts. So for artifacts, you just want to go attack 108, max brave 330. Attack to help with her damage a little bit, but max brave is going to be a really important stat on her because her brave gains and battery will scale off of max brave. So I feel like max brave, and I've said this before, when I go into a character, I like to go all in at what they do best, and I see Quistis here as mainly a support battery character, so I'm going to emphasize that as much as I can and go all in on max brave. If I can get attack lumped in with it, great. But I'm probably not going to do like attack only. Like I'm going to want max brave as my priority. Now we'll see. Maybe her damage is like so crazy I'll change my mind on that. But I feel like her damage is just going to be average. But I could be wrong. We'll see. So there's that. And then her spheres. So she's got a D slot and 2 E slots. So for D slot, I think her best in slot is probably Cisne, to be honest. Because Hope she can't trigger. Because Hope, I believe, was a weakness. Or no, Hope she could trigger. So yeah, Hope or Cisne, I think, would be fine. For some reason, I was thinking Hope was a weakness damage, but I think he's just like a buff trigger, so he would be fine too. So Hope or Cisne, I think, would be best in slot here, because you want party max brave and attack up. That way you're getting max brave to help her brave gains, but you're also getting the party attack that you want. So that's what I would do on D slot. And then for E slot, you could go attack route with like a Yuffie or Emperor type situation. But since I really like Max Brave, I'm going to do like some really good Max Brave only spheres. So her own is actually really good. This is a party Max Brave up. And then I've got Eldnarsh on here, which is a Max Brave stack up to 5 times. So Eldnarsh is going to be like a 15% Max Brave up. And then her own is going to be a 5% up for the party. So I really went all in on Max Brave on my spheres. Now, if you like her a little bit more for her damage, you definitely could put attack ones on there. If you want to give her utility, you could go with like a debuff one. So like you could do like a Ferris and like add poison to her kit. Like that definitely wouldn't be the worst idea considering she's like a utility character, right? I don't really think I would advise Vanille here. I think there's better characters for Vanille, unless you're someone that's just going to like upgrade every Vanille EX and just put it on any E-slot character, then sure. But Vanille Sphere is so amazing on like a character like Aranea that can instantly unbreak on demand, whereas Quistis can't really control the breaking. She controls the delays, but she can't really control the breaking, right? All right, so with that, we're going to hop in. Now, keep in mind, my Quistis is leaving some damage on the table. So, this is she doesn't have any crystal room boosts. She does not have a BT, but I do have an Ultima weapon on, but it's a supplement level 0, so it's the lowest level Ultima weapon. Still stronger than a green BT, though. And then her armor is not blued, so we'll keep that in mind as we go through. Alright, so with that, let's just hop into the showcase and see what this girl can do. I'm really curious to see her damage. I think her main damage is going to come from her EX. That's kind of the way she's operated in the past. We'll see if that's changed with her upgrades, right? We'll hop in and see what happens. Now, this is like my normal showcase fight. Somebody already commented on one of my videos. When you do Astos, you're going to have to do a harder fight. So, like, yes, definitely on Astos, I'll step up to a harder fight. But as long as, like, this stage, I can get enough turns, and I like doing this one just because I'm comfortable with it, right? So let's go ahead. We'll just start going through her kit. And we'll start with the LD just because it's like an instant turn, and we can just get back-to-back turns, right? So the LD, or no, not the LD. We're going to start with the 35. 35 is Degenerator Whip. Now, the first thing you're going to notice is her skill uses are very lopsided. Laser Whip has a ton of uses at 12. Degenerator Whip is very limited at 5. It's because Degenerator Whip is a very powerful button, but there are ways to get more back. So Degenerator Whip, we're going to pop it, and it's going to be a huge instant turn, 3-turn delay. So we're going to hit that. And you're going to see enemy B just went like flying off the screen, right? So it is a huge single target 3-turn delay, instant turn rate. And it does battery the party on her max brave, and it does put a speed down. Now, in order to recover skill uses, she can recover skill uses with her LD and her AA. So her AA is called ability recoveries. So like this would give her a skill 1 and a skill 2. So I could pop that, and now my Degenerator Whip went back up. Laser Whip, I'm not worried about that. 12 uses is plenty, right? Let's go ahead and hit Laser Whip. This is going to be an AoE 1-turn delay, I believe. Alright, so we saw A get pushed back. So Laser Whip is a party battery. We saw the attack there, and it delays all enemies by 1 turn, and it does an attack up and a turn rate down on the enemies. The turn rate down is pretty important because the whole idea is you want the enemies to go slower, and you want to keep delaying them. So putting that turn rate down early is pretty good. Aerith, we are just going to BT effect with you. Do I want to put a call down? Sure. Now with Quistis, we probably don't even need the Raijin call, because the idea is unless the enemies jump cut turns, like with Quistis, they're never going to get turns. Like that's just how it is. So you just bounce back and forth between the enemies and make sure that you're pushing the closest one back, and you should be good. So let's hit Holy. We want to get BT effects up. We want to see how good Quistis can look here. And I'll be honest, I actually didn't even pay attention to her damage those first couple attacks. I'll have to look at it next time to see how much damage she's actually doing. I do expect her EX to hit pretty decent, which she does have up. So the one good thing about her is her EX charges really fast. So you get a lot of longevity out of her because she's going to constantly be popping that. And you can pair her with someone like Aranea to give you even more delay if you want, right? So yeah, with Aranea, let's hit Dragoon Dive and like delay. And then she's going to get a free turn. And then we're going to go ahead and pop her BT effect, I believe. Sure, we'll put Kurosami on. Why not? Okay. And then we'll do BT effect. Perfect. Now Aranea is going to be launching like rains and doing crazy things. Alright, so Quistis. Now we're going to do the EX, which is Homing Whip. So Homing Whip is going to be another battery. This one's going to scale on the HP damage she deals. This is going to be a 2-turn delay. And I think this is new. Homing Whip didn't used to have delay in it. They made it so like every button now does delay. And it's going to give her a buff called Instructor's Whip. Instructor's Whip is going to be an attack up, max brave up, and HP damage up. And then brave gains after each HP dump. And then it's going to do party overflow up, which is good. And then it's also going to do a debuff called Fading Light and a speed down. The Fading Light debuff is the one that was from the call, which is just an attack and max brave down. So let's go ahead and pop DX. Now I'm curious on this damage. This is, I think, is going to be important damage. Let's see what this does. I think this is going to be our big damage button. Okay, 1.3 mil. It's solid. It's like average EX damage, but for her and like all the utility, that's kind of like what I was expecting, right? We'll look at some of her other buttons though as we go through. All right, Aerith, let's go ahead and charge a little bit. We're getting pretty close to wanting to just go into FR anyways. And when we do the FR, I'll talk about the BT. Like I said, I don't have it. We're going to go quite a bit here on this. All right, we'll do one more and then pass turn. Because Quistis, we'll do like another normal turn with like the LD because we haven't done that yet. Definitely need to press that LD button. All right, let's go ahead and do a Seal Evil. Okay, and then sure, let's do the LD here. Someone else, I should mention this as well while I'm thinking about it. She can pair really well. I think it's Enna Crow is the one I'm thinking of. That like the EX does like a break and it like breaks back to wherever the other enemy is. Like you could do some really nasty things with that delay. Which would be kind of crazy, right? Like you could delay that, like pick one enemy of Quistis, push them like super far back, and then do that Enna Crow EX. I think that I'm thinking of the right one. I could be thinking of a different character, but there's a character whose EX does like a delay and it puts the enemy behind wherever the other enemy is. That could be a really nasty combo with Quistis. All right, sure, let's do Dragoon Dive. And we'll push the A enemy way back, and then we can push the B enemy back to them. I'm not going to worry about launch damage here. All right, now I'm going to do Degenerator Whip again, just so I can pay attention to the damage, because this is instant turn rate. Okay, so with launching on top of it, how much is this going to do? 2.5. That's actually pretty good damage for 35, but it is very limited skill use. But yeah, the damage there was actually really good. And now you can see we already have a homing whip up again, right? So like, yeah, her EX is like every other turn she's popping that EX. And you're pretty much using Laser Whip as filler and hitting Degenerator when you need the big delays, right? All right, so let's do the LD, which is called Ray Whip. All right, let's see what this is going to do. Okay, that was about a mil AoE. So yeah, her damage isn't crazy, which is what I was expecting. So Ray Whip is a party battery, scaled on Max Brave. Delays all enemies by 2 turns, and then you do get a skill use back of skill 1 and skill 2. And then she gets the Instructor's Insight buff. Now this is a stacking buff, and it kind of works like the BT, which we're going to talk about. But it's going to max at 3 stacks, and as long as the enemies don't take a turn, like every time you take a turn, it goes up a stack, and then it's going to reset if the enemies take a turn. So it encourages you to no-turn the enemies to keep the stacks up, and this is a pretty important buff you want to upkeep. This buff makes it so that the enemies can't resist the delay, so you got to upkeep it for that. And that's going to be a party attack and Max Brave up, Brave damage up, HP damage up, and Brave gain up. And the auras are actually pretty good if you get it up to full stacks and keep it there. And then also, she also has an attack up on a different, on her 15 as well. But yeah, that's going to be really, really good if you can keep the stacks up. So let's go ahead. And Aranea, once again, can really help with that, right? Like I can Dragoon Dive this guy here. Instant break, push him back to Oblivion. And get the big Aranea follow-up. Alright, and then we're going to get into a FR here. Aerith, what is Aerith going to do? We will just Seal Evil, that's fine. But yeah, Quistis isn't definitely, I don't think is going to be like Yuffie, where I got like really surprised at the damage. Like Quistis is just like mid to average damage. You really are bringing her for like the battery and the delay utility if you're bringing her. So let's go ahead and do the FR. This is called Scatter Whip. With 7, it makes total sense. Like the only 2 whip characters in the game. What is it, like them 2 and Rydia? There's like literally 3 characters in the game with whips. So 1.8 mil, yeah, that's like mid-range to average, right? Nothing too crazy there. It does delay the enemies by 3 turns though when you hit it, so that's huge. An AoE 3-turn delay, like that's crazy. And then if you do a battery on turn, it's 20%. So that's nice. Aor's Echo should actually echo fairly well with it. And then if you delay an enemy through break, it's 20%. But if you delay with an actual delay attack, it's 55. So it's 75% if you battery and delay at the same time. Otherwise, it's 40% if you battery and do a break. So it's not like the craziest. So let me talk about the BT. So the reason why you want the BT if you're using her FR, her BT, the main effect that it has on it is it makes it so every party in the, or every member of your party will do a 1-turn delay on any attack, and it ignores the enemy's resistance. So what it means, it's going to turn all of your party into delayers, and they're all going to get the full 75%. But without that, you have to bring like a specific team that can actually initiate their own delay if you want to get the big percentages through, right? So on the BT, it's also a stacking buff that stacks up to 5, and it's like the buff I just talked about, where it's going to stack up every turn you take, and then it's going to reset if the enemies take a turn. So you want to try not to let the enemies take a turn. It's going to be an HP damage up. It's going to be an HP damage limit up for herself, and then on the party, it's going to be a brave damage up, brave damage limit up, HP damage up, and HP damage limit up. And once you get it fully stacked, the percentages are very good. They're very potent, right? So between her normal, her her instructor's insight buff, and the BT buff, if they're full stack, like, they are very good auras. You just got to make sure you don't let the enemies take turns, which is what you're trying to do with her, right? So now that we have this up, so the reason why Aranea can kind of pair well is she can initiate a break anytime she wants. So like her Echo should be fairly decent, because she's going to get what, the base 20% plus the break. I don't know that this batteries. This should get at least 40%, maybe 60 if it batteries, which it might have batteried herself. We'll just cancel this. All right, so what do we get from Aranea? No, 40%. So we got the break, and then we got the Echo bonus. Now, Aerith here should get a pretty good Echo, because she should be doing a Brave gain here. So this should be like 100%. Should be. Yep, 100%, because she batteried, and then 80% is the base on her Echo. So yeah, very nice Echo there. But yeah, that's basically it with Quistis, right? We've pretty much seen anything. So we'll just keep doing attacks and then just see. And I guess something I could do if I want to be cheeky, she doesn't have a burst phase, but I can do a degenerator whip phase. That's something I can do. Let's see if when Quistis gets her turn, if she can finish them off with just degenerator whipping and then maybe doing an Echo at the end. Let's just see how she can do here. I mean, Aranea can Echo. I mean, they're going to almost be dead before she gets her turn anyways. Yeah, we'll Echo. And actually, I think Aranea is going to steal a turn off of this. Or no, I bet I haven't used her EX. So yeah, her steal turn buff fell off. So that's actually good. We will not do the launch damage. That'll probably be overkill. All right, so let's see if Quistis... She'll easily finish, by the way. So let's do some degenerator whips. So yeah, dude, 7.8 mil. Yep, pretty good gain there. And then obviously delaying into Oblivion. So we can just pop these and just go crazy till they're dead. 9 mil, 83%. 83%. And just pushing them back into Oblivion. All right, let's finish with the EX. Let's do a homing whip here at about, what, 800%? Sure, we'll take the launch damage. All right, what do we got? 17 mil. That's solid. But yeah, you can see she's not putting up like these big 50 mil shots that these big damage dealers are doing. But Quistis is the true definition of like a utility unit. So she's definitely what I would classify as your slot 3 unit. I would say you still want to pair her with another dedicated healing support character because she doesn't heal. And then you want to have a dedicated like main damage dealer, which Aranea definitely could work in that slot. A lot of you just pulled her, and she does synergize well with all of the break delays, right? So anyways, let me know what you think of Quistis. Thanks for watching. We'll catch y'all on the next one.